Fewer illnesses are worse than cognitive decline and dementia. Everybody out there, every family has a story to tell. Sadly, most of the current treatments, including pharmaceuticals, they are very hit and miss, not strong evidence at all. We're going to talk in this video about 3 supplements that may help support and guard against cognitive decline, according to research. Dr. Peter, would you like to go first?
Sure. Ashwagandha is a very good important supplement that actually helps regulate your stress response. And we know that chronic stress continuously can attack the hippocampus, and the hippocampus is a memory center of your brain. So you can imagine that chronic stress inflammation that we get really helps destroy the central memory center of your brain. And that obviously leads to cognitive decline. And ashwagandha actually helps regulate the stress response. We know that ashwagandha also helps improve sleep patterns. And we know that when you sleep, your body's repairing inflammation. It's also clearing other things like amyloid proteins, like amyloidosis or something called cerebral amyloid angiopathy, are conditions where you have abnormal protein deposition in the brain that can lead to cognitive decline. So ashwagandha plays a really important role in managing your stress response. I think, and really that's how it protects you from cognitive decline.
I've seen that research as well, very well known across the Western world for some time now for its potential benefits. And remember, this is all about supporting the brain in any way possible, because cognitive decline, once it sets in, it's really not a curable situation, sadly. So it's all about what can you do to support your brain, your neurons, and I've seen that research as well, ashwagandha, stress response, sleeping, all of those things. If that's something that anybody out there would want to try, maybe you've had experiences with ashwagandha already. Dr. Ben, do you want to go next?
Yeah, so I'm going to cheat a little. And actually, I'm not going to pick a supplement, but strength training and physical activity. The reason I say that is it's just so important. And I have so many patients that come in, and one of the big distinguishing factors that I'm seeing are the people that were physically active consistently and did a significant amount of strength training. They really do appear to have a lower incidence of dementia. There are other factors that we could see correlated with dementia, but that appears to just be a huge one.
Yeah.
I'm
glad you said that, actually.
Yeah, no, it's a chronic exercise that's reducing inflammation. And what I said is that chronic stress and the chronic elevations of cortisol attack the brain. That makes complete sense.
They do. Yes, movement, strength training. If you don't have a strength training routine, why not? Come on, 20 minutes, 3 times a week, some light dumbbells will do you some real good, building up that muscle mass, making sure that you're guarded against many of the complications of aging. And there's a direct link between health in the physical body and brain as well. As you get stronger in your body, your brain also benefits, reduced oxidative stress, reduce inflammation. And we see this all the time, people who strength train. And yeah, I would think of that as a natural supplement. And you can too, every time you go to the gym and work out.
Absolutely. I think it's vital.
My turn. I will go in terms of a natural supplement for lion's mane. There's been a lot of interest recently. I remember a few years ago when we talked about natural supplements for the brain, ashwagandha, people talked about a lot. Ginkgo, people talked about a lot. Even magnesium, but we didn't hear too much about lion's mane. But I would urge everybody out there to look at the fascinating research. And I've heard direct stories from people who've had family members who have benefited. And lion's mane works in a number of different ways, potentially, including stimulation of neuronal growth factor. There's a direct effect on reducing oxidative stress and inflammation. So oxidative stress is basically the stress that occurs in all cells of your body as a result of the chemical reactions that are always occurring in the body. And oxidative stress is implicated in inflammation, implicated in disease processes, implicated in aging. So anything that can help to reduce that is going to potentially do good. And I've seen lion's mane cited many times. And it's so interesting. You don't see much of this research in the mainstream media, but it is there if you go online. And again, this is not a cure for cognitive decline or dementia, but when you've got a situation which is so abysmal and the prescriptions out there, really evidence is very iffy, plus they're expensive. I'm all for going for natural compounds. So lion's mane, if anyone wants to look into it, direct effects on neuronal regeneration. And what are your gentlemen's thoughts on just how bad dementia is, and why don't we discuss more all of these natural things like supplements, strength training, even getting outdoors, whatever it is? Why do we not talk about that more?
I think that's a great point because we always thought that it was just completely untreatable or completely unavoidable and just a pure sign of aging. And like you talked about, there are some natural solutions, like what we talked about when you said about lion's mane, and the active compounds of lion's mane stimulate nerve growth factor, and the active components are able to cross the blood-brain barrier in helping things like neurogenesis and nerve repair and improving cognitive function as help in improving nerve growth, but also reducing oxidative function. Ashwagandha, which I had mentioned too, also helps. And so there's just a lot of different things we talked about reducing inflammation. But I think in the past, we didn't realize how much inflammation can affect the brain, and you can do things naturally to avoid it or reduce it, let's say.
Exactly. What are your thoughts, Dr. Ben, on why this is not promoted more? That there are so many natural things, whether we're talking about supplements or anything lifestyle related, that can help guard against cognitive decline, one of the worst illnesses.
It's not just dementia. I mean, any medical condition, you really don't hear a lot about the alternative ways to treat it. As a matter of fact, the medical industrial complex will look at any alternative treatment as absolutely crazy and outside of the norm and outside of standard. And that's really inappropriate, especially in a condition where we really don't have any good alternatives. The medications that are currently used to treat dementia and cognitive decline are very poor. They don't make a big difference. They certainly don't reverse the process. And some of the new ones being studied are actually quite dangerous. I don't know if you've heard about some of the new injections and trials that are going on, but they can be very dangerous. They're not showing a huge amount of promise. And I really think it's absolutely vital that people look into this early on and try to prevent this from happening. This is how.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's being proactive as opposed to reactive and not waiting
That's
for the
right.
signs. Because once the signs already appear, it's going to be hard to really start to reverse that.
That first memory loss. That's right. And coming back to what you said about just the attitude in general, when we talk about the prescriptions that are commonly used, the difference between placebo is not that much, but I have encountered many people who say, yes, we take ashwagandha, we take ginkgo, we take lion's mane, and we think it's really helping us or our loved one. And many members, sadly, of the medical profession will say, oh, there's never been strong research or it's a placebo effect. But the placebo effect exists for everything out there.
Right.
Every prescription has a massive placebo effect. So my attitude is, if you're going to have a placebo effect and people saying that something benefits them, I would far rather that it was something natural. Even if it was just eating an apple, that's far better than a synthetic product that comes with a ton of side effects. That is my attitude when we're dealing with a terrible illness like cognitive decline and dementia. And we see this every day in the hospital and the office. So thank you, everybody, for watching. We are wishing you well on your health journey. Do research everything that we've talked about. All this research is out there. Now you can even use ChatGPT. Ask for research on ashwagandha, ginkgo, lion's mane, strength training, going outdoors, socializing. It's all there now at the touch of the button. And make the right decision for yourself. And hopefully you are in tune with our line of thinking that it's always better to exhaust natural solutions first, if possible, before going for the big guns. All right, everybody, we hope you enjoyed this episode. Do check in the links down below for our natural health and wellbeing store, where we are very excited to be crafting unique formulations of supplements. We have food and beverage products as well, and organic chai. And in terms of memory, do check out our memory support containing ashwagandha and ginkgo and our lion's mane, and see if it might be right for you. ohighwellness.com if you're in the USA, North America, ohighwellness.co if you're in the UK, ohighwellness.ie if you're in Ireland or mainland Europe. We will speak again very soon.